We're thrilled to introduce an impressive and innovative Chinese electric car for you, the Leapmotor C10. It is being launched with us in Germany through the Stellantis group and is essentially the 15th model available there. Brand. You're probably familiar with Stellantis from brands like Opel, Peugeot, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, and numerous other exceptional brands. And by the end of the year, there should be 80 at the Stellantis dealers, and next year even 120. Can you get the Leapmotor C10 available from €36,400? Yes, before we take a look at the whole car together, which is actually 4.74 meters long, could you please check again if you have the ticket for this video? Subscribe to Einfach Elektrisch. This way, you can support us for free and ensure we keep showcasing amazing electric cars for you in the future. I'd suggest you go ahead and check it out, and then we can officially kick things off right now with the Leapmotor C10. And as always, we start from the outside, start from the front, look at the front section, and I must say, it looks appealing or simply plain, but also with a certain elegance. We have it here in a beautiful metallic green, and I find the color suits it extremely well, just like the modern daytime running lights, then paired with the LED headlights, which also have an up and down dimming function. At first, I thought that this LED light strip ran continuously. It's not, though.
What a pity.
Might possibly come later with a model upgrade. That's the latest hot trend out there. Installed a continuous ceiling setup. We've also got R curtains in place because the Leapmotor C10 is said to be extremely efficient. Today we want to explore that a little bit more extensively around the Berlin area together with you. Stellantis has generously provided it to us here through Stellantis U, allowing us to showcase it to you in its absolutely full, splendid glory and remarkable detail. Distributing the Leapmotor through Stellantis appears to be quite a brilliant strategy.
Indeed.
Because you're not just buying a car where you might not have a contact person afterward, but with the Stellantis group, you also have a dealership network for maintenance, wear and tear, where the parts are stored in Bochum in case the car has an accident or a part needs replacing. I trust Stellantis manages this well, instilling both us and you with a sense of confidence when we present these outstanding vehicles. With a bit of luck, perhaps you'll have the joy of calling one your own in the not-too-distant future. Besides the price starting at €36,400, Stellantis offers attractive leasing and financing options. Leapmotor takes yet another really cool step forward in this regard, as Stellantis, just with its notable 15, brands are now perfectly positioned. With a clear rear section, there's again a bit of that design, and it surprises me that they didn't incorporate it at the front, which is just having a continuous light strip, where additional indicators, brake lights, and reverse lights are seamlessly integrated, yet everything remains clean and tidy.
Yeah, that looks really good.
And if you were to take off the Leapmotor C10 badge here, you might even suggest that from the rear section, it somewhat resembles a model from Neo.
Could be, yeah.
Without wanting to step on anyone's toes at Neo or elsewhere at Leapmotor, and what Leapmotor manages to achieve with a car that is approximately 20 to 30% more affordable than the collective competition. Just integrate the wiper into the rear spoiler here.
Yes, very good. We would wish for that with many others too.
And I just find that brilliant. We have no chrome here, we have no bling bling. Everything is glossy black, not matte black, up to the roof rail. Of course, it can't miss.
Yes, my colleague Hot Wipe Castle, indeed.
That's not so chic, of course, and what I find intriguing about Leapmotor is that we should check later, perhaps through a video, whether the lack of aerodynamics might backfire. Strange and rather odd-looking alloy wheel design, don't you think?
No, we have such a nice multi-spoke rim here, it looks really chic.
That could also very well be on a Lotus Elise without meaning to discredit the Lotus Elise by saying this.
Nice on 20-inch wheels here, 245s, pretty stylish.
Exactly, and that might bring us to the next topic. Being sleek isn't only about aesthetics, it's also about how this Leapmotor is designed with a spacious trunk. It's also stylish that it has plenty of space in the back, that it has relatively a lot of space in the front, but it's also packed with modern technology, including assistance systems, and it received 5 stars in the Euro NCAP crash test.
That's good, yes.
And that's an important argument for you too. You not only want to travel well and comfortably, we'll find out later in the driving report if it can do that, but of course you also want a certain level of safety. When you're traveling with him and against all odds, something we all don't wish for happens. When an accident happens, let's move on to the technical data. It is 4 meters and 74 centimeters wide, so rounded up, 4 meters and 73 centimeters, 1 meter 68 high. For comparison, I am 1 meter 85, 1 meter 90 wide, plus exterior mirrors, and the wheelbase is a good 2 meters 82. In between, there is an LFP 400-volt battery pack with 69.9 kilowatt hours gross, of which you can use 66 kilowatt hours net. Yes, as mentioned, it starts at 36,400 euros. Well, for a good 1,200 euros more, you not only get the single-phase charging with 6.6 kilowatts in the base, but the 3-phase charging. 11 kilowatts can be ordered as an option, and there's an even better equipped version that's just under 38,000 euros, where you basically have everything included like you see here. The fast charging capability is at 84 kilowatts. And this is considered a drawback, as going from 10 to 80% takes approximately 40 to 45 minutes, which could feel quite lengthy if you're in a hurry to continue your journey promptly. However, they apparently introduced lounge features inside, allowing you to fold down the front seat backrests if you remove the headrests, creating some sort of lounge area. It's a bit like Chinese to me, right? I just want quick charging.
In case it takes longer to load again, exactly.
I don't want to always eat lunch or always have dinner. I don't always want to drink coffee, and I don't want to walk the dog every time. I don't always feel like writing emails. I just want to be able to charge quickly if that's possible. But with a starting price of 36,400 euros, we likely have to make some compromises. Yes.
Right.
Weighing in at just under a massive 2 tons, he is outfitted with a drive shaft. And unfortunately, it's now on the rear axle and we're at the front.
Grand.
That means the electric motor is here on the rear axle, logically driving the rear axle. Yes.
Certainly.
With 160 kilowatts, 218 horsepower, and 320 newton meters of torque. We'll definitely try that out in the punch as well because it's supposed to launch from 0 to 100 in 7.5 seconds. I think we can do it manually, but you have the draggy. Yes.
And got the draggy. Let's do it. I see no compromises.
Exactly. You use a draggy and should go, I think, 160 to 170 kilometers an hour. Yeah, I think that's enough. So, in the future, probably in 2025, I hope there will be an all-wheel drive version again. Then additionally, including an electric motor on the front axle and having even more power. And potentially there could be a larger battery pack offered, since some of you might express, oh man, if this is my main vehicle and I'm planning to take it on long holiday trips. Charging at 84 kW is of course somewhat limited.
Yeah, that's particularly difficult.
The spokesperson for Stellantis has assured us that it will indeed be increased as expected. He wasn't very clear on the specifics and couldn't specify whether this would include existing vehicles through over-the-air updates or be limited solely to newly produced vehicles. We'll just have to be patient and see what unfolds. If you're really passionate about the car, perhaps you could try to pressure your Stellantis dealer. Maybe when you're there, they'll know a bit more than we do today in this video. Just imagine for a moment a Leapmotor C10 entering the German market, boasting all the features that our favorite VW group models simply can't manage. Rather impressive, wouldn't you say? And vent hoods. And maybe even some insulation.
I'm so scared.
Yeah, me too, right? Because he really has range hoods, but no insulation, maybe because he doesn't need it. And what it doesn't have, picture a frunk here that extends downward, offering about 50 or 60 liters of storage space, sufficient for fitting a travel bag comfortably inside. Someone set this up here because they kind of prepared the car for us. He most likely got it up and running in some way, had to figure out a few things, and then unfortunately forgot to reinstall the frunk because it is simply placed right back into position here. But the fact that Leapmotor is thinking about it is just sensational, right?
Exactly.
That they truly have this grasp of effectively using every available space and gap to make them accessible and beneficial for the customers, meaning us. Yeah, because especially with this lousy, dreary November-December weather, it's just fun not to mix the dirty charging cable with your luggage or let it disappear into some double floor storage, where maybe the suitcase is in the way on the trip. I was gonna say...
It removes...
I won't elaborate, we've said it countless times. Explains why a frunk is so useful, and it's quite large too. You can see this here to fit a bit more than just a charging cable inside. Yeah, last but not least, those shock absorbers have some serious pressure.
Fab.
Isn't there somehow a cheap...
Need more pep today. Well...
But we'll do it, right?
3, 2, and ultimately 1.
And if you think that's the only car from Leapmotor, we've probably already shown you the TR03, the compact car from 18,900 euros. Feel free to check out the second Leapmotor video as well. I think Leapmotor really excels in terms of price performance there too. But there will also be, so to say, a C15. Welcome, or C16. We already showed it at Auto Zurich. It's a little bit bigger, actually has 7 seats. However, there's no evaluation yet on whether they want to bring it to the European or German market. But next summer, a B10 model will definitely be released, which will be even smaller in size and is likely to start at a price under 30,000 euros. So, the summer at Leapmotor 2025 will also be exciting. And I tell you, this C15, C16, I really liked it. So this is super, super interesting. If you all think, yeah, there's a button somewhere, goodness knows where. Nothing doing, we completely misjudged the situation here in Zurich too. It's beautifully integrated right here.
Oh, look.
And I think it's really chic.
Small, neat knob.
And then the trunk even opens electrically, and afterwards we'll take a thorough look at it together. A total capacity of 424 liters. Not bad at all, right?
Neat.
Sure, it might not reach a Skoda Enyaq, which I think had 580 liters. Trunk volume, but then let's also include the Frunk. With just roughly 50 liters, we're at 474 liters. That's actually okay.
Absolutely, yes. And what I notice right away here seems to be rails. Seemingly for a parcel shelf, you can slide in and out easily. She's unfortunately not here right now.
Well, we don't know, of course, whether it's missing in the press car or if you might have to buy it as an accessory. Write in the comments if you know more. You know what we surely have. Nice carpet is everywhere. There's a subwoofer from the sound system. We have hooks here for hanging, some lighting, and we have a double loading floor where you can put a small tire set, but there's also plenty of deep space available to store things. Again, everything nicely insulated because the electric motor is underneath, so that's where Leapmotor goes all out.
That's all right, yes.
On the left, there's a small compartment for some bits and bobs. However, where Leapmotor seems to fall a bit short is, I have to honestly say, having a pass-through for longer items or simply being able to fold down just 20% would indeed be a nice feature. But unfortunately, you can only fold down 60% here. But take a look, you have the ability to adjust it a bit. You can make it slightly slanted, and it's cleverly and ingeniously solved because the hook is constantly in place. And if we fold down manually on both sides, having a kind of spring pre-tension would naturally offer much more convenience and ease of use. Nice, but at 36,400 euros, I can't expect more. I should be glad you can get a car like that for this.
Yeah, quite a few people could really take a page from that.
And then you increase from 424 liters to 1,410 liters, and then you start to wonder, how do the Chinese manage to make a car at that price? And when we take a look inside, concerning the quality too, we examined the paint, it's all in tip-top shape. The panel gaps are okay.
Spotlight.
Well, that's also high manufacturing quality. Yeah? So when you just see that our European competitors are somehow 20-30% more expensive than the C10, but they more or less have to transport the car from China to here with and without tariffs, then you really do wonder, how is that possible?
Yeah, how does that work? It can't all just depend on wages or something.
Exactly, because what's electric
Is electric.
also with the Leapmotor C10 looked nice and smooth. Now there's maybe even a soft close, right?
Have a look now.
Dude, so can't get better, right? And if he says, man, 1,410 liters isn't enough, I'm doing a bigger move, don't trip, Stefan, there at the edge, then you've got the nice roof rails in glossy black. Yeah, and supposedly you can have up to 75 kilograms of roof load on it, right?
Yes, I discovered that just like that too.
It seems that with the Leapmotor C10, you also get a tow hitch included. With approximately 60 kilograms of drawbar load, I hope that's accurate, and up to 1.5 tons of braked trailer load capacity for the rear-wheel drive C10 model.
That's good.
Well, when I see cars like the ID4, ID5, Skoda Enyaq, Audi Q4 e-tron, or whatever they're called, and Cupra, Tavascan, they usually weigh a ton in rear drive and 1.2 to 1.4 tons with all-wheel. He yanks 1.5 here.
That's really good.
So, when comparing him to the current competition, he might at present be missing the second and larger battery pack, depending on the configuration chosen. That somehow you end up once more with an 80-member choir battery pack.
And you have about 66 kilowatt hours.
Yeah, well, that's obviously going to be quite tough. When you're charging at 84 kilowatts, you can actually just... Yeah, so I think in terms of the charging radius, I believe everything's fine, everything's good. So for, I don't know, you might just be driving your little boat back and forth, or your little horse, or your trailer
That might work.
within the range back and forth, but it's supposed to have good consumption. Even when we drove over here, the moment I latched onto that, I had already received a bit of eye rolling from the other people. Let's look inside first before checking consumption. We showed you everything outside. Let's head inside. First, we'll start with the window check. He has single glazing, but that doesn't mean loud interior noise, as we'll test that with you too. Double glazing isn't something our subject has here, but it's not essential, especially not at 36,400 euros, right? And if we take a look at the processing quality from the inside, then we have here, this kind of reminds me a bit of my EQS, like a neoprene material. Maybe a bit recycled too, I don't know, but it looks quite chic. Such a rough surface, almost like suede. It's intriguing. Could be a bit more softly padded, especially for those who enjoy the fine art of elbow sports, who rest their elbow on it. We have nice faux leather here, very smooth. All of this is faux leather. But even here, it could have been a bit softer dampened for the friends who rest their elbow on the armrest. See, nicely with synthetic line here, nice synthetic too. Then here, a matte plastic that has a wood-like texture, and then the window controls look just like in the Neo. I believe Leapmotor pieced together a little bit from various things. We will also notice that with other switches as well. But down here comes the whole armada of hard plastic. But because it has that kind of like a violet tone, like a dark grey violet.
I was about to say I've somehow been into eggplants all along.
Or eggplant, it also seems somewhat worth it again. Yes,
That seems accurate.
here it rustles and clatters. Somehow there's a missing insert, but you can retrofit it somehow if necessary. I'm familiar with the indicator lever and gear selector from Mercedes-Benz cars. Just wanted to make sure we clarified that. Welcome to the interior of the C10 by Leapmotor. And first of all, there is no vehicle key, just a card. It's also quite nice. You hold it up to the mirror grid, and then you hold it here in the compartment when you want to start the car, so to speak. Nice and modern, nice and fluffy. They skipped the head-up display, which might also be a matter of cost. Maybe I would have liked it to be optional, but if it's not there, the world won't end.
No, not really.
Up here we have a hard plastic, back there seems to be a sound bar inside, then here we have a slightly softer plastic, almost feels like faux leather. Here below is the ventilation issue, which you then have to adjust again here via the monitor, just like with the Slug Gene, although ambient lighting was only introduced in the new models. And here you have that soft plastic again, so really incredibly well made.
Absolutely, yes. And especially, of course, sometimes we complain that we don't have rotary knobs or anything else, or that we can't manually adjust the ventilation. But having it so clean also looks kind of cool, doesn't it? Just all neat and clean.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's not about impact, it's about practicality. I still find that switches and sliders can be really practical overall. And this new hot stuff that everyone is raving about is basically just a cost-saving measure from the manufacturer so they can save on wiring harnesses or something. Switches and levers save, and that way cars might simply be manufactured more cheaply. Driver display feels kind of the same as with all the Chinese ones. There's probably a big manufacturer where they just put in some of their own programming, and it also kind of reminds me a bit of MG, a bit like BYD, but it's all high resolution, all fancy, all good. We also have a steering wheel that we can adjust both in distance and height, and it contains a multi-function as well. We know these controls from the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. Paired here with the switches, probably the same steering wheel manufacturer was chosen, and it feels good. The function, the scroll wheel, it's all excellent. Also, the touch buttons are very well implemented, so there's absolutely nothing to criticize. 2 spokes instead of 3 or 4 spokes. Yes, that's a matter of taste, and here they've valued this with the plastic insert. So, horn works too. All good, right? The only thing that might be a bit bothersome is this wide center console, because depending on your seating position and so on, it might restrict you a bit, much like we know from the Polestar 2. Overall, I'll show you through the passenger door shortly. Maybe as a larger person like myself with 99.9 kilos, you might wish you could move the seat a bit further back, can be adjusted even further down. So for smaller, narrower fawns, I believe it's excellent once again. Looks like I'll need to downgrade.
Most certainly.
Exactly, here we have a nice large 16 by 9. I think it's around 14-15 inches of infotainment display, where we have a nice tiled structure. Everything's quite cool. We should definitely have a routing system with charging planning here as well, laid out accordingly to meet our needs. Let's see how the language works.
I'm here.
Drive us to Munich to the Viktualienmarkt.
Various results found? All right then.
So, now it's calculating the route. That goes quite smoothly. Then you can use the button here to add charging stations, or you plan individually and find them along the route. Great option, right?
Certainly it indeed is.
Then it begins.
I'm struggling to fully understand her words. No clear destination identified.
And then you can smoothly zoom in and out here and move it around effortlessly. I believe there's a reasonably good processor powering it, and it actually boasts quite an impressive visual presentation overall, yeah?
Oops.
You can take another look at the route here. Also which charging station it is, how many charging stations are available, and what the price for ad hoc charging is. Everything is really well done.
And everything operates quite quickly too.
Yeah, so I have to mention the engine. You've really done a fantastic job with that, and overall you all have also... There are wonderful features available here, like having access to Amazon Music and the option to use the Vivaldi browser. Is this Spotify included as well? So these are simply wonderful stories that you find here, including an app store, which allows you to easily add more apps in the future, if the Leapmotor allows for it, that is. So, well, perhaps he just doesn't have the absolutely perfect radio connection right now. It really is not too dramatic. We are here in a pleasant rural field. Therefore, I believe that is absolutely fine, wouldn't you agree?
Of course.
Stop.
I apologize, I didn't quite understand that. Could you please possibly rephrase it?
Cancel.
All right, kindly give me a call back once again if anything happens.
Silt, I needed to first eliminate the language announcement here so that we can proceed to calmly show you the rest of the things we have. Yes, there's an inductive charging surface which is a little elevated here. I would have hoped for a bit more ventilation so that the phone doesn't get too hot. Then we have two cup holders here. It's actually nicely done. The edge is probably for aesthetic reasons, or that if something slips over here, it doesn't slide further. And then we have here, but this is not really soft and it kind of foams up. Another really spacious storage compartment featuring a rubber lining, though lacking any felt or carpet covering, where you can conveniently store quite a variety of items. Yeah, what's definitely cool is that we've got the cup holders integrated into the rear center console here, because it gives us hope that we might have a center armrest, the kind that won't come up again with cup holders in my elbow. Last but not least, also standard on board with the expensive version. So the one for just under 38,000 euros, then here a nice glass roof. Yeah.
Under 38,000 euros? Nice glass roof? Yeah, nice.
Leapmotor definitely does a lot better than our American supercar makers with the Model Y, since you actually get this nice thick blind here to enjoy that beautiful, also fully closed the large glass roof.
Shut!
So everything was really done correctly, yes?
There's really not much to complain about here either.
Well, maybe handrails.
Yeah, alright, I've got them back here.
But then, how often do you use them at all?
The car isn't so high that you need to hold on to something while getting in or anything like that.
The only thing that's maybe a little distracting is the hazard switch here. I would have preferred it here in the middle. You know, when you're stuck in traffic and need to signal, you get a bit distracted. All right, and there's also the SOS button. Most new vehicles have it these days. Yeah. But okay, then the hazard lights are up there once you know it, or can you... A look through the passenger door shows you once again that they've adjusted the heights ergonomically here and you actually sit well. Yes. So if I could somehow sit about 10 centimeters further back and about 10 centimeters lower, it would be a dream. Absolutely. Because somehow it feels more like being in a van than in an SUV in terms of space. Because it goes up so high here, right? Yeah, so you also have, I think, so much headspace here. Well, feel free to write in the comments what you think of the design. Yes, then we have a double layer here. There's a 12-volt port, 2 USB-C ports, if I see that correctly.
One USB-C, one USB-A.
Ah, okay, because I could only see the USB-C, and there's the possibility to fit his small men's bag, little women's purse. And then it's quite chic, right? And also the seats, they are, again, with this very soft, very nice feeling and snug. Synthetic leather, I believe, equipped. Great stitching, perforation. Now just hope it somehow has seat ventilation here. Look. Yes, so this includes ventilation and heating. Then once more, also here just over the screen, without any buttons. But if you know where it is, then you'll definitely find it as well. Absolutely. How incredibly awesome is that? So I'd say I have somewhere around 36,400 euros in total. I possess the top variant, priced just under 38,000. You just have to opt for the top variant. There's really no other viable option, is there?
The heating and the ventilation are amazing.
Isn't that quite awesome, huh?
That's good, yeah, definitely.
The only thing that's not so high quality is the hard plastic here on the glove compartment, but we'll let that slide. And the size is now manageable, but let's be honest, what do you actually put in there?
Maybe the construction logbook is in there, maybe a live vest, and that's it.
Yeah, and maybe a parking disc. It's also kind of missing a carpet or felt, but I think the floor mats, they're honestly of a rather limited quality. The car now has 38 kilometers on it. Besides us and maybe someone else, I think no one has ever really sat in it. There's no mat inside, right?
No, that's no mat. I think it's the whole floor here.
Okay.
They simply didn't permit us to join them either.
No doormats were given to us.
Not really, no.
But he is, of course, very sensitive.
So you instantly notice it when you do something in that area?
What's quite sensitive here is that we have the fabric up top, and then it doesn't continue with fabric as usual, but rather already with hard plastic. Okay, and then of course we have So we have cobblestone flags alone. I'm just saying, if it doesn't bother you, that's fine. And then down there, the entryway really is quite beautifully nice once again.
Vans. They were the worst.
All right, but the price has to come from somewhere, but everything's solid, and I'll say even the door. It has a really good sound. So a Passat, just like this one here from VW, a Passerati, it doesn't sound any different.
No, not at all. What exactly are you looking for?
I was inspecting the insulation here because it can sometimes happen that you hear rolling noises, like the recognizable sound of small stones or even water when it begins to rain or during a heavy downpour. But that's also neatly solved. At first it looked as if it were just hard plastic, but it is plastic. Yes, let's do the seat test in the back. I'm 1 meter 85 tall, weigh 99.9 kilograms, and let's see how much space we get to enjoy here in the rear of the Leapmotor C10.
I truly admire this guy. As soon as he takes a seat, he falls asleep straight away. Buddy.
Just having fun.
Yes, of course.
We've got this reclining function back here, no joke. It's just super awesome.
Yeah, that's good. And I can see you already love the armrest too, right?
No kidding, no cup holder. It's up front, easily accessible. Yeah, that's definitely well executed. See how soft this is. Yeah, nice. I'm telling you, best spot. I think, I'm always back there on the right. Yeah, you in the back right?
In front.
That's right, it's just here. Look, I can fully extend my legs, and that's likely why the seat is so low. See, I can slide my legs under the seats and have so much space here. And when I sit in properly and slouch a bit, I have more than a hand's width of space here. So at least as much space as in an ID4, ID5, which is well known to be far more expensive. And that's all really super smooth here. So it's pretty nice this way. Everything is really soft. So everything's like the high quality of a comfy recliner chair. Yeah?
Everything's also super well crafted.
So you'd probably have to take it on a road trip over a longer distance to see if that softness sort of bounces through, He has holding devices back here. Yes.
I did say that. You can hold on securely at the back.
Why won't your front motor comply?
I haven't got a clue.
Mean? I'm unsure for now, but we do have child ISOFIX fittings on both the driver's and passenger's sides. Plus, there's enough room to easily fit the entire frame with the seat, ensuring everything fits securely. Otherwise, notice that we have air vents in the back. I personally think that's quite nice.
Again, USB-AC.
Exactly, and here it's a slightly harder plastic. But look, even the back seat, even though it's harder plastic here, comes with a nice pocket. Some don't offer a bag here. Nope, nothing.
Or maybe a spiky net.
And even down here with the piece of faux leather, it really seems like everything's pretty much all right, don't you think?
All's good, yeah.
The only thing that might possibly start to rattle just a little bit once more, you know? I mean, I really appreciate the BYD C-Line. You remember where you come across all of that? Yes, that's still leather. Oh, but the car is also 10 more costly.
Certainly.
Well, you really need to keep things in perspective sometimes. So what if it ends up being a bit more like an extra 10 kilos? Of course, the C-Line in terms of exterior design and everything was already a bow. Feel free to check out the video. If it doesn't come down to 10 more, usually you end up with an attractive leasing rate anyway. If you think it's actually worth 50 or even 100 euros more for the vehicle, you might also consider options like a C-Line, a Tesla Model Y, or a VW ID4. ID5, who can say? We are here to present the cars to you, but what you choose to purchase is ultimately up to your own decision. Yeah, here's hard plastic again. Yet it looks stylish, and see, the rear door panel is like the front. Well, that's different from the VW group, yes?
Sure.
Let's do it again, the back door sound. The telecom indulges right here.
Yo, bit!
That was one of our first charging stations where we couldn't make it to Schönefeld Airport, remember? And charged here or in between. Yes. With the old telecom charger that definitely had its difficulties back in the day, and then I decided to treat myself to getting a second one here, yes. I'd say we showed you everything, both inside and outside. We finally want to let the 218 horsepower and over 300 Newton meters fly here in the Leapmotor C10. Let's proceed to the driving report. We've already set off and are encountering this beautifully quaint cobblestone road here, but it manages to handle it really quite well. Well, you really can't find any room to complain about noises here.
That makes good sense.
We embarked on this highway, excited and eager to thoroughly test with you how the highly advanced driving assistance systems function, enhancing both safety and the driving journey experience. Yes, it does come equipped with a steering assistant as well as a lane keeping assistant. But it still hasn't turned green here for some reason, likely because we're currently driving on a federal road. And so he's mainly relying on the lane keeping assist to keep the vehicle steady on the road, a trait that's fairly common in a lot of vehicles that come from China, including the Leapmotor C10 vehicle. Is this entire delightful concert of jingling and ringing sounds?
Driver monitoring and...
What can sometimes really start to get on your nerves just a little bit more than usual.
Sure, yeah.
What we definitely have, though, is a decent acceleration. You can really feel the good 300 Newton meters of torque. The rear-wheel drive really suits it, I believe, exceptionally well. And it's 1.9 tons and a few extra kilograms of curb weight. They genuinely allow it to run quite smoothly. In that respect, it manages to deliver a certain amount of driving pleasure for sure. The only thing I really don't understand is why I don't have any steering assistance available here. Because ultimately, he identifies and understands the street here just as well as if it were a regular highway. Except that it's not a highway, of course, but rather a motor vehicle road. And naturally, I'm also expecting him to consistently maintain the center of the lane right here and not merely depend on some sort of a basic lane keeping assistance system, correct?
Is that so?
I'm a little disappointed right now.
Absolutely so.
Sounds good, the blink noise.
Actually, that's really kind of somewhat irritating, you know.
You can really speed through this entire area with the car. It's definitely got some truly impressive power. So anyone who says it doesn't have enough power, I have to tell you honestly, that's fluffy. So the loving mother gives it full torque, full power, just to cruise around here, and I like that. Yes.
That really is fun.
Well, we had quite a few sluggish vehicles, and with those, it wasn't really easy to just smoothly zip around the corners. Oh yes. We want to try out the turning circle with you, and it's excellent because the front wheel steers nicely, giving us a turning circle of 10.80 meters with a vehicle length of 4.74 meters. Isn't it fun driving around in the Stefan, right? Looks good. We want to simulate a parking situation with you, and it seems like there's somehow nothing available on the right side. So let's try parking here on the left because that's what's required for the TÜV test. reserved, and let's test how we can get next to the BMW here. It's because we now have this top view that I lost some of the rear view, which I really could have used. As a result, I have to turn my head to check if I'm still somehow against the BMW next to me or not. Look at these impressive molehills, so very beautiful and of the finest quality. Someone's been quite diligent there. So you can probably make some adjustments here if you know how it works, or
maybe?
sure, feel free to go ahead and write in the comments if you happen to have any ideas. So, and he's supposed to have a front camera as well, but unfortunately the one for the front isn't working either. I'm not sure how to set anything up here. I can't find anything, even after turning the knobs or trying other things. The only thing it does is charge my phone. I found that a bit disappointing because I think I've seen with colleagues that somehow with the 360-degree system, there was more to see. Let's go into the menu here. Oh, look, now I can adjust it.
Sure.
Look, I have this wheel perspective here, which I've been looking for, where you can see the left and right front wheels. You can also see the rear wheel. That's important for the curbstone eraser colleagues, I think. Then you somehow have a function at 180 degrees.
Front wide lens.
That's smart, because if I exit here, I see on the left, see the BMW, I wouldn't see anything. But here I see, look, but again, this monitor is somehow in the picture. So, and then I can obviously do another 360 degrees with a floor view. However, that's not really helping me out in this situation right now. So from the I also deactivate the transparent chassis, dynamic driving lane, and reverse warning here. But I can't seem to swipe away this camera here because I'd like the wide shot, which I actually don't need at all. Honestly, I'd actually rather be out of here now to have a clear view before things start to blow up. Then a little child can walk by or cyclists come through. So I think you can still optimize a bit here. But other than that, I have to say it's pretty cool made here.
If you know where it is located, then
Tell me, what is that actually? That's not the Feldberg, it's not the Brocken, it's not the Zugspitze. That must probably be some beautiful mountain in good old China, right?
for sure.
So if you know about it, please write it in the comments because I'd really like to go there with you sometime. We want to do the 0 to 100 check with you. We've activated sport mode to get the full performance. Stefan, is Draghi on? Begin count.
3, 2, 1, let's get started.
Hold on tight. Ouch. There he goes, taking off quickly. We're reaching 30, then accelerating to 50, racing up to 70, speeding to 90, and finally hitting 100. And there's absolutely no one behind us. We're doing the brake check, slam that pedal down. And first, the steering wheel is pushed up here. That wasn't truly activated before, but now when seated, he did press it, right? No.
That really wasn't what happened. However, we do have the numbers. We have 0 to 60 in 4.07 seconds, 0 to 100 in 8.76 seconds, and subtracting down from 100 to 0 in 3.22.
Yeah, so he didn't quite manage to meet the factory specs somehow.
No, not quite.
So, yeah, whatever the reason may be, today might be a little bit of a damp road. We have 8 degrees, summer tires on, so they're naturally a bit harder and not quite as smooth and soft. The battery is quite alright with over 80% charge, so it should have more than sufficient voltage for everything. If it doesn't want to, it doesn't, right? We'll measure the interior noise at 50 kilometers per hour. 5069 decibel, this is a similarly good measurement value as we have experienced with the VW ID3. We're traveling 70 kilometers per hour. Noise level is 63.64 decibels, definitely quieter compared to the ID3, which was over 70 decibels. Now we accelerate to 100. (71 decibels. That's also a top value. We were at mid-70 decibels with the ID3, ID4. What you can definitely do, but only if you have activated park mode, is you are able to switch off the one pedal mode. You have the option to turn on creep mode, which allows for smoother driving, but you won't be able to adjust or modify the drive levels when one pedal mode is currently active. So that means you have to stop every time, press park, deactivate one pedal mode, then change the driving mode, and then depending on how you want to drive, reactivate the one pedal mode. That's where you end up. Instead of simply being able to switch back and forth like you would with any other car, I don't understand it.
Yeah, me neither. Is it really possible to make it this complicated?
Yeah, then on top of that, you've also got an electronic stability program, a hill descent control system, as well as a comfort job feature. This setup essentially enhances the experience and performance when you're braking. We'll give that a try right away when we have to stop at the next red traffic light here in Berlin. This might be something nice, but somehow I'm totally disappointed that I can't control the drive modes here.
I have to hold this while driving. That's really terrible.
So, and now we're going to test the steering assistant again. Now we have basically only activated the ACC, the adaptive cruise control, which allows us to kind of flow along with the traffic. However, it doesn't allow you to activate the lane centering assist function, which genuinely appears to work exclusively on the highway. I don't get it, because he also has to work with his camera system, with his radar sensors, ultrasonic sensors. Recognizing the street edges in some way, I feel it's a bit insufficient, because that's something that functions effectively with every Volkswagen Group vehicle, every BMW, every Mercedes, and many other cars out there. And also within the Stellantis group, such as Peugeot or similar, they're really top-notch too.
That's essentially all that there is to it.
What works well, surprisingly well for a Chinese car, is the traffic sign recognition.
He performs that swiftly, recognizing it as an exit sign, and just like that, you're there in no time at all.
And then you can basically press drive just once to take control of the speed. So he doesn't make it adaptive, where it automatically takes on the speed. He's not making it predictive at all, like somehow looking ahead with data from the navigation system or camera. So there are still several slight possibilities for further improvement. And what it also doesn't do is driver attention recognition when the steering assistant is active and functioning. Capacitive. However, you still have to make this subtle jiggle on the steering wheel, which can be really annoying when I'm trying to take a nice power nap. You're driving me, and I might just want to doze off for a bit or something like that.
I need to jiggle the wheel a touch.
During a power nap, or when the other passengers in the car are nodding like this, well, that was obviously exaggerated, but I just would have liked a capacitive control, then 3 fingers on and off it goes.
Precisely. Yeah, it's not hitting that well now, right, Basti? Whoa, just took off like a rocket.
So there's a bit of a humming sound, isn't there?
Yes, exactly from Hall, yes.
I believe that most of you would say a cool sound system is already included in the price. And at that price, no complaints, right?
That is definitely more than sufficient.
But it doesn't even come close to the basic Bose or Harman Kardon sound systems or Bang & Olufsen that we know, and certainly not to the expensive systems that we're familiar with from the Master Drill and beyond. So there's another significant jump. And we often really notice that simply because the high notes don't come through as clearly as they should. Are crystal clear and the mid-range sharp, but instead everything seems to blend together and blur quite a bit into each other. But it sounds clean, it sounds solid, you can listen to the radio here, you can enjoy nice music here, and for the price performance, I have to say it's really top-notch, right?
Sure, yeah.
I finally managed to achieve it. I drove down the federal highway straight through the city of Berlin, maintaining a speed of 80.
Thank you. Everything is glowing green. Now I need to slightly turn the steering wheel.
See that?
He immediately flinched again right away one more time.
But quite surprisingly, it truly manages to stay right there in the fluffy center of the lane.
He's really good at that, yeah.
And I'm telling you, it received the 5 stars in the NCAP crash test because it genuinely includes all the necessary systems. So here, the emergency brake assistant, then the steering assistant, lane keeping assistance, blind spot monitor. So you're basically getting, if you will, really the full package here for then under 38,000 euros.
Yeah, and look, by the way, you can drive through the tunnel right now. That fits perfectly. You nicely see the ambient lighting too.
Well, you can definitely adjust the colors too. We haven't even found everything in that regard yet. I have to be honest with you, about the car, sure, it might not be the world champion in design.
Nope, no.
Definitely. He's certainly not really the world champion of combining materials. He also doesn't include a lane change assistant, which you would...
That truly looks already discovered.
But what you don't necessarily need, which is very good, was our danger alert. So, but look, nicely in the curve here, it does 80. It feels like all of Berlin has become an 80 zone on the highway. Everything ecologically practical and good. Also here, These uneven surfaces, we can also transition to comfort right away. He does all that solidly, he's tightly comfortable. Now there's someone next to us, I don't want to startle them here. Nonetheless, it can also slightly wiggle around just a bit back and forth within the lane here right now. So he doesn't display any major swaying or tilting movements. Therefore, it's all very solid. That might not be exactly what you're accustomed to from a German premium car manufacturer, but again, it costs way less than half of, let's say, a Porsche Macan, yeah.
Right, so
But offers a similar amount of space and even more room in the back, yes?
nice seat in the back, yeah.
So, moving away from the Porsche Macan again, everything here remains rock solid. We have a precise measuring device on board that can neutrally, honestly, and authentically measure the comfort levels across all the different vehicles. And that has been consistently for years, I truly have to say, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for managing it so well. Stefan's trusty batometer.
Yes, I'll gladly pass on the thanks.
What's your overall circulation like anyway?
Yes, very comfortable, I must say. I find the seats nice and comfy, pleasant, especially quite soft, and particularly the seating paths and all, that's really nice. Well, I mean, considering that it's not a sports car or a fast vehicle by design, you don't really have the kind of side support or thigh support that you might consider necessary in that type of vehicle. But I think I'll just join others when I say I would definitely take it. Everything is quite lovely, there's nothing bad about it. Everything is robust, especially given the top-notch price. Additionally, when it comes to the chassis, I find it to be genuinely pleasant and thoroughly comfortable. It doesn't experience excessive body movement, which contributes greatly to the overall enjoyment. Absolutely. And I would say that the direct competition could even be the Silo, which I believe is around 41 or so, and it certainly matches up effortlessly with that.
She's enhanced a few things to be perhaps a bit finer and more upscale, specifically inside with some faux leather accents, additional stitching, and a few extra seams. But I personally believe it's just a genuinely nice and modest vehicle that is also quite pragmatic in nature.
Right? You know.
You weren't paying for any sort of random flashy nonsense. Instead, it was calculated rigorously and with precision. You received a solid, spacious, and generously comfortable car, didn't you?
Alright, so
And also certain with a 5-star NCAP crash test, giving you decent driving comfort. So if you could move a bit further back for me, around 10 centimeters with the seat, and if it's possible to adjust the height of the seat another 10 centimeters further down, that would be wonderful. I would have a nice cool cruiser here.
yes, that's right.
And then it's actually fun. Sure, a bigger battery pack would be cooler. Sure, a faster charging speed would be great, but it's still a solid travel car, right?
Yes, and who knows what the motor name holds.
I'm telling you, this is incredibly exciting stuff, and they are truly doing one key thing really well. They brought in a European global player experienced in leasing, financing, and with a network of dealers who truly understand cars and are capable of repairing them as well. They know how customer service works because that's usually where Chinese suppliers often struggle. They actually brought all that over from Stellantis, originating from the IAA a year later, and introduced it to Germany.
Yeah.
Let's talk about consumption. Here with the Leapmotor C10, oh, we've been driving with it for quite a while now, also on the country road, did the acceleration with you and so on and so forth. Today it's approximately 7 or 8 degrees in Berlin with rather gloomy and dreary weather, and 17.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, I must say, for a test drive. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's really not bad.
Because I think if we really aim for fuel consumption, we also drove a long stretch at 100, and so I believe the consumption would even be that you stay under. So to speak, 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, right?
Yes, for sure. That's really good value.
I think that fits too, and in the summer, the values will go down a bit further anyway. So I believe there's actually still room for some improvement. I think we should consider using the C10 as a test vehicle once again, with a fuel test and a charging check.
Yes, a great idea.
And with that being mentioned, let's please proceed directly to the final concluding section about the Leapmotor C10. And yes, I must apologize. I am truly impressed. I like the design from the outside. It's modern, it's purposeful. We have reliable headlights that come with high and low beams, along with advanced assistance systems. We have a 5-star NCAP crash test. We have a reliably functioning steering and lane-keeping assistant on the highway. You have to say that. Unfortunately, not on the country road or the highway. We noticed that too. And we even have on board a reasonable route planning, including charging plan, where I can decide myself. Should I decide to include charging stations in my plan, or would I prefer to personally seek them out myself as I travel the entire route? There might also be a few specific points where it could be beneficial to mention this. I really wish there was a selection feature available along the route that's currently missing at this moment. And what might also still be missing are perhaps a few filters for specific charging station providers. That you say, oh man, perhaps I've got a special rate with Ionity, Allego, EMBW, or Maingau. And then I specifically want to charge my vehicle at locations like Lego, Bionity, or NBW exclusively. That would perhaps be a nice little dream once more. However, those are all things that you can actually achieve in today's world quite easily through the means of over-the-air software updates. What I miss most, since we haven't discussed it yet and I skipped it in the infotainment earlier, is not finding anything about Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, either wired or wireless, but I'm hopeful there should eventually be an update later on. Because that would certainly be a cool feature, providing an alternative to the, in my opinion, pretty reasonable infotainment system available here in the car.
Then additionally, their smartphone once more, in 1,000 meters ahead.
Well, if you could mirror your phone again, that would be kind of nice, yeah.
That would definitely be pretty awesome, yeah. I mean, you have the media player where you're also able to load Bluetooth into it, yeah.
Beginning from there, 36,400 euros, plus about 13 or 1,400 more for what you get as the full European version with everything included. These truly are very impressive prices, especially when you take into account that Stellantis is also offering some outstanding leasing options and great financing terms. Yeah, I honestly believe that could work out extremely well for both Leapmotor and Stellantis too. Please share your thoughts in the comments below and remember to take some time to visit your local Stellantis partner soon. Asks if there is a love motor with him, and take the car for a test drive, because I think at 4.74 meters in length, it could be an interesting story for some families who might not be focused on maximum loading performance or such. It's just annoying that it doesn't remember the volume and then every time it blasts again.
These are small ailments.
And that from the phone takes over via the Bluetooth interface. But as I said, you need a hazard warning device nowadays, so you can just... You know how often cars' construction sites and day sites are there. The position isn't entirely accurate. When we film with you, we definitely have to be very careful.
Right.
And with that, we've reached the end of today's video on the Leapmotor C10. I'm eager to see how you all rate him. Please feel free to give us a big thumbs up for the video. Feel free to check again if you're already part of the 1-2 electric community, so you don't miss out on videos like the latest electric cars in the future. You can definitely support us with a free subscription, and then we'll be delighted to see you in one of the next upcoming videos once more. Yeah, Stefan, the only thing I don't quite understand design-wise, we already talked about it at the beginning. I'd find it cool if this part were also lit up here, yeah.
A little LED strip, that would be the icing on the cake, I think.
Rear, right?
That's well executed.
But the sign here by Leapmotor also has something to it somehow, the L and then the P, or what is that supposed to be?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
Gut.